Stay hydrated with Coca-Cola. Wish they were a sponsor. Hey, we're going to do a little bit of animation to audio, looking for visual cues from our waveform, which is super helpful. And we're going to be changing in points, not really out points. We might change one or two. And also we will do some slight keyframing to try to think about ways that visual graphics can be married to audio or vice versa. So this is a file that you have that you can download. You probably already have if you grab that whole thing. It's in that folder. It's called Audio 2. And what I have in here is a composition with, I don't know, about 12 or 13 layers. And we have an audio clip that we were working with in the previous video, which is that sort of hip-hoppy thing. What I want to do is just have a quick listen to, but also a look at the waveform. So I'm going to open up that audio information. Still has my fades that I put in from the last piece. Here we go. Let's turn it up. It gets cut off a little short, but it's fine. It's 10 seconds. We're gonna make this work. So it kind of has this for the first two and a half seconds, and I have an idea of what could be really kind of nice with that. Since it sort of has a hypnotic kind of feel to it, I'm gonna take one of my shapes and just have it spin gently and drift almost, wow, it might feel like in the distance it's going to get smaller, and then fade away. So it sort of matches that sound. I want to get rid of everything else except for that one layer that I'm going to work with for this little piece. And I can go about this in two ways. First of all, I just want a little bit more real estate with my timeline, so I'm going to drag that divider bar between the composition and the timeline up so you can see how it sort of stretches it. I just want to be able to see a little bit more of my information here and still see my work. So we're going to focus on that front spin layer, which is the white square. This one here, it is the topmost layer. Now, if I'm saying that I don't want to see anything else until I'm kind of done with this one, I can do a couple things. I could just turn off the eyeball for all of those other layers. I want to keep that background gradient on there just because it's nice and I'm not animating it. In fact, it's locked. So I could do that. That's fine. Or I could work with my in and out points and trim those layers so that they're just not even going to be on stage until I need them. And I know I'm going to need them as the rhythm comes in, So I'm just going to select all of those colored layers. No, not the top one. So I just held shift and clicked on the top one and the bottom one, number 9 through 1. You can see them all highlighted here. I'm just going to drag that endpoint out until, halfway. And they are off screen until I need them. And I'm going to call them onto stage as I need them. In fact, I might even go further back. I'm going to go all the way back to like 8 seconds because I like calling them on when I need them. And I can do that. So now with this front spin, I think I want to start big. I want to start at an angle, like a 45-degree angle or something like that. And so I was talking about a scale change, a rotation change, and an opacity change. So I want scale, S. I'm going to hold down Shift now. I'm going to press R. and then I'm going to press T, all while holding down Shift, and that says, okay, he doesn't want all the transforms, he just wants scale, rotation, and opacity. And I'm going to tell After Effects I'd like to start recording now. So I just dragged down, I just clicked on those stopwatches. You can drag down switches, which is really fast and helpful. So now I have a keyframe for scale, a keyframe for rotation, and a keyframe for opacity. I talked about having this bigger and at a rotation. I'm going to just change the rotation first. So I'm going to change that rotation to 45 degrees. I'm doing it by hand. I could just click on it and say 45. And now I want to scale it up. I'm going to scale it up so that those sides touch the edges of my comp. So those corners are touching the left and right sides of my comp. And so since I'm recording those keyframes, all I have to do is just change that data and make sure that my playhead is still at that moment. And it's saying, okay, cool, this is where Greg wants to start the animation. So how does the waveform actually fall into play here? It falls into play by giving me visuals. I can see how the audio kind of ramps up, and then the first drop of rhythm is right here, is the spike. So I'm going to move my playhead to where that spike starts. So you can see how it sort of lines right up with that. That's pretty groovy. What about audio cues, Craig? Well, I could just hit spacebar and play and try to just, eyeball it. Sometimes it's really hard to tell where certain things are. So there are some other tricks. And one of them is holding down the command key while scrubbing. So I'm going to hold down command and I'm going to scrub a long time. There's the first one, second one, third one, fourth one. So you can actually hear it. Okay, so that's one way that you could use your ears. It's really kind of digitally, but you can still pick up on it. The other thing, and this gets really kind of cool, I'm going to make sure that my front spin layer is selected, and oh man, shoot, was it that one? I'm just trying to remember. What one was it? There it is. Okay. I'm going to use, since I don't have a full keyboard on my laptop, it's always jumbles my memory of what the keystroke combos are. If you have a number pad, you have an asterisk key that's kind of up by the plus or minus. I think it's northeast of the 9, and or it's on 8. Maybe it's, I don't know, whatever. On my number pad, which goes along the top of my keyboard, I can see that my asterisk is bundled with the number 8, but I have to use a keystroke combo in order to get that asterisk. The asterisk is going to lay down a marker, a visual marker on the layer that you have selected, and if you don't have a layer selected, it'll actually put it in the timeline up above. So I'm going to hit play, and I'm going to have the music play, and I'm going to hope that I have the rhythm down, and I'm going to hit my control and 8. I'm just going to hold control the whole time. I'm going to hit 8 every time I want to represent a beat. So here we go. Okay, so now you can see what happened. These little markers were put into the layer, whatever you want to call that, the ground beef, wherever I hit it on the rhythm. But you can see I missed the first one, kind of missed the second one. I got that one pretty good. Sometimes it catches you off guard. That one was okay, and then I sort of fell into a sequence here. So you could use these markers as long as you got some rhythm. It might take a couple times. And try to animate to those. But I'm going to clear all markers, delete all markers. I just control clicked on a marker and said delete all markers. So that is a trick that you can use. I'm going to just go visually with my waveform though, because it works pretty well here. Now, I have keyframes at the very beginning of that layer, and now I've moved my playhead to where that first rhythm is, where I want this to be way smaller. So somewhere like around, I don't know, here. And I want to have it rotate maybe 90 degrees. So I will go, what is that going to be? A 90, 40, I'm going backwards. It's somewhere around here. And then I want to have my opacity go all the way out. So the results are a spin, a fade of scale, and a fade of opacity. And we'll just listen to it now. Cool. Great. I love it. Guess what? I don't need that layer anymore. So I could tell it to go bye-bye and get off stage, which means as long as it's selected, I could hold Option, right bracket, and I just trimmed the out. That way it's not going to ever be on screen anymore. It's done. I'm done with it. It served its purpose. Now go away. Let me work with my other layers. Other layers being those blue boxes that I have. So on that first beat, I want my first blue box, layer number 1, to appear on stage. Well, I know a shortcut for this in and out point business, so my in point would be Option, left bracket. I could also grab it and drag it. This is just faster. Cool. So now I'm going to go to my next hit. Bam. And I'm going to take, this time I'll just grab the other one. And I'll hold Shift so it snaps to my timeline playhead. So there's layer 2. This is where layer 3 needs to come in. I'm going to do the shortcut. Bam. And now I'm going to go to the next hit, which is right here, layer 4. Bam. So now if we just watch this sequence, it's totally working with the audio. It's so cool. Great. So that's just the first part of this. And the next part is going to be these other colored bars, which are going to come in at similar sort of fashions. We've got a hit right there. Bam. Bam. So it kind of goes da-dun-dun-da. So I want to have everything done, those next 5 layers, somewhere around here. I'm going to hold that command key and sort of listen for them. Hold on. Bop. So that's where the next one comes in. Boom. Bam, the next one. This guy. And looks like right there. Let's see how that looks. What? Ah, that is not awesome. I did not nail it the way that I was nailing it in practice. I think this one needs to come back here. And I think that one comes back here. I did practice this. Maybe that's good. Let's find out if that change was good. Oh, bum bum. This one needs to come in later. That's what I am deciding. Bear with me. Is that going to be any better? Sure. Good enough for the friends I hang out with. And then we start over again. It has that same pattern. So what's really fantastic is I could just copy those layers and shove them over. But I want to get a little more detailed with this animation. So when this first one comes on, I want it to fade out. I want it to hit and then fade. So I'm going to use my opacity. I'm going to keyframe opacity. So I'm starting at 100%. And by the time that third one comes on, I want to have dissolved all the way out. So now I have a dissolve of opacity, boosh, so that it just disappears. Good news, I can copy those keyframes of opacity, so Command C, and I'm going to go to this next layer. And as long as I'm right at the beginning of it, I'm holding Shift when I get there just so it snaps. I'm going to hit Paste, and it just pasted those keyframes. How do you know? Just open it up, T, and have a look and see. Next one. Paste. Next one. You got to make sure you move time. Ah, crapola. I copied both of them. Paste. Okay. Paste. I'm going to make sure I didn't. Okay. So now all of those have keyframes for opacity, and I only had to do it once and then just paste them in there. So now what do I see? I see the fly out, the drops of blue, then cool. That's awesome. It's really coming to life, isn't it? So now that I have all those selected, if you wanted to select them again, just make sure you click number 5, hold down Shift, click number 9. I'm going to duplicate. Command D. Now it duplicated all those. And when you duplicate multiple layers, it stacks them right above the other layer that it was duplicated from. But what I want to do is move them all the way up, so you can grab any of them and just kind of move them towards the top, and they will regroup and be bundled up. So I have to go look at my waveform, and I should know that my next sequence starts right here. So I can just move them all together. I'm just moving them. I'm not changing the in and out points now. I'm just going to move them over like this so that they start at the next sort of sequence of that pattern, and it should be all set to go. Nope, it went too early. I shot too early. So, interesting. Bam, I guess it has to be right there. Let's see if that works. What's funny is that when I practiced this, I did it all spot on, without futzing. Sure. Okay, I can live with that. So you kind of get the idea about how you can begin to coordinate something just as simple as solid colors and shapes to some audio, and you've got a piece that's coming to life. And, you know, we just learned how to animate, and we just learned about layers, and we just learned about audio, and already we're at a point where we can pull something like this off. It's pretty great. It's super great. So please practice this with the file I gave you, or make your own. That's fine too. You might want to use this audio just because it has a fairly easy rhythm to follow. I even got lost a little bit. But just think about something that has some clarity and isn't too muddy, so that you can actually identify things like waveform, or be able to listen to it and identify those points of change or hits and impacts. All right, thanks for hanging in there, and I can't wait to see what can be done with your own creative minds. Take care.